Hello and welcome to Hockey Hypothetical, serious answers to silly questions. Each episode will be taking preposterous scenarios that we've made up from the world of hockey and trying to produce genuine responses to the what-if questions. My name is Jonathan Fernley, I'm here with Stephen Dowson, and Douse, here's our first Hockey Hypothetical. So the situation then is that you are the owner of an Elite League team.
Ooh.
You need a new coach.
Yes.
So it can be any time of the season. You get to choose when it is, whether it's during the season or during the summer.
Let's say it's the end of the season. We haven't had the season we thought we'd have, and I've let them go.
You need a new coach.
I do.
So obviously you put out the recruitment advert.
Do you do that? Is that what you do? You never see it. I never go on.
You see occasional player ones on websites.
Yeah, you do, but you never I never go on a local Gumtree and see hockey coach needed. You know what I mean? I always just think, did not just anyway. Yes.
Anyway, some
yes.
CVs have arrived.
Yes,
okay?
good.
You've somehow selected a handful of them to come for interview.
Yeah.
What on earth are you going to ask them? I want to know what club owners actually ask their potential new coaches.
Yeah.
Because we've both been in regular job interviews before.
Yes, we have.
And it can't possibly be questions like that.
And we've both been on the other side of the table as well.
Yeah, we've both been
interviewers.
Interviewers, yeah. So we're not asking a potential hockey coach for an example of when he's worked well as part of a team.
Maybe. Well, surely hang on, isn't that question number one? Can you give me a time of when you've worked well as part of a team? Isn't that the fundamental part of being a hockey coach?
But you can spot the wins and losses from the elite prospect side, so you're going to know what their records are.
Yeah.
It's surely going to be more of a thing about philosophy. So what questions do you want to know from your coach? Or what answers are you looking for if you were in the situation whereby you got to pick a head coach? What answers are going to impress you?
Hey, see, that's really interesting, isn't it? Because basically, I just want somebody who just speaks to my vision or whatever I think.
And what is that? What is that vision then?
You see, the problem. I think this is the problem with maybe recruitment. So I do a bit in recruitment. That's kind of my job. And what we'd say is your questions to the interviewee should reflect the job spec. So the job spec of a coach is coach the team, manage the individuals, bring success.
Success is third on that list, is it?
I think it is. I mean, I think if you don't have any individuals, you won't have any success. Recruit the team. I mean, especially in the Elite League world, where you don't have the typical GM position where somebody's doing all the trades on your behalf. You're also going to have to be the key recruiter. So maybe that's the most important thing. So maybe that's question number one is, can you show us your philosophy in recruiting new talent? What do you look for? Why do you think it's important? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Is there still room in this interview scenario for another generic interview question, which is, why do you want to work here?
That's normally...
Because that is a genuinely good kickoff, because, if you're looking at a team and someone who's coached in Europe or maybe has coached in the AHL, the Elite League might seem to some as a step down.
Surely, though, the answer then is the same answer everybody gives, though.
I need the money.
Yes. Well, if they're being honest, they say, I need the money. But it's I've always heard about the club. It's an amazing, great history, great passionate fan base, and I think it has a lot of potential for growth. I think it's the right thing I need for my career. When actually what you want to say is, well, my last job sacked me. So here I am in front of you. Maybe why do you want to work for my elite? Do I want to know? Because would I believe them with whatever they came out with? I don't know.
If you're asking the question, there must be a reason you're asking it.
Yeah.
Because I've been in interview panels before on both sides, and you might score someone out of 5 or just a plus or a minus.
What's the perfect answer? Yeah.
Yeah, and so if they tick all the boxes, then they're the right sort of person. You can make it on a gut instinct feel later if you'd rather, but you need some sort of objective criteria to measure them with. What is that for picking a new Elite League coach?
I think it does come down to, I think it's like any job interview. You're trying to give the answers the interviewer wants to hear. So depending on the club, your answer is actually very about what you think the club's going to do in the next couple of years and what they think the owner wants you to do in the next couple of years. So, winning trophies might not be on the agenda of every Elite League club.
So you're saying then that the two new coaches who've been employed in Milton Keynes and Nottingham have given very different answers?
I'd imagine so. I'd imagine if I was going for the job with Nottingham Panthers, it would be taking, why do I want the job? Successful team in Europe, a growing star within the British game and in the European game, great fan base, an amazing arena. The facilities are there to have a generation and an era of continued success. That's basically how I answer that one. If I'm going to Milton Keynes, I think I'm starting off by saying, I love the kind of environment where you're down and you're scrapping and you're working hard every day, working hard for every point. It's what we need to do as an organisation. It's why I think the job is made for me. I think you're coming at it from understanding what you believe the clubs are and what they want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Can you come at a job interview like that then with more of I've always believed in sort of community hockey. I've always been it's more than about just the team on the ice. It's about
Yeah, for certain clubs, yeah. Absolutely. I think it really does. Again, I think with that question, why do you want to work here? It's always about what does the owner think their club is? And then answering that. But I think that the first question I ask is, how do you recruit talent? What do you look for in talent? Do you go for single guys, married guys? Do you go for older guys, younger guys? Where are your contacts? Who do you know of in the hockey community? And
is the answer to that question not entirely decided by the club and what the club can afford in terms of housing and transport and those sort of issues?
Well, that's where your smart answer comes in. Because I would just ask, how do you plan to recruit? Do you see what I mean? I would be saying...
So you want a more open-ended question then?
Yeah, possibly. Because you could get a coach comes in and goes, well, I'll go to the top schools of Europe, find elite talent, and I'm going to sit there going, buddy, we're not going to be able to afford any of that. I want to hear you say, actually, I've got some really great contacts who have always been able to help me find some good European players you've probably never heard of, who are looking for work, who are committed, who are hard work. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. And again, it's different if you're Nottingham and it's different if you're Milton Keynes. I think if you're Nottingham, you are talking, and I hate to say this because I think it's the thing that Nottingham always gets labelled with, the kind of the superstar Galactico names that they always try and get, compared to grinders.
And they do get.
Yeah, exactly, because they can afford to. But again, I think I want to know my coach knows how to recruit, because we have seen great coaches do poorly because they're bad at recruitment. And we've seen great recruiters manage to fluke their way to winning titles because they've got the right team at the right time. And it's only until season 2 and 3 you realise, actually, he's not very good at coaching, is he? You know what I mean? And I think so recruitment is probably most important thing.
So when it comes to philosophy then, if you've got a hockey philosophy, which is if you are an established coach, you probably do.
Yeah.
How much are you going to have to just sell that in an interview situation?
I think that's
if you're an owner, would you be prepared for someone to say, actually, I know that in the past you've always played exciting, high-scoring hockey. Would you be interested as an owner in listening to a coach that says, your way is wrong, that doesn't work, I am going to play a tight trap game, we're going to win 2-1 every night, and it's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be winning hockey. Can you as an owner be convinced by that?
I think that sums up the interview, isn't it? Because I think all the coach can say is, here's my qualifications, here's my previous run of results. But normally when you're recruiting a coach, it's because the last guy didn't work. So actually what I want to hear from a new guy is, here's what I'm going to do and here's why it's going to work. Here's why I know it's going to work. Here's the examples I've seen it work before. Here's how I know it's going to work against the opposition in this league. Do you see what I mean? I think that's the most crucial part of the interview, is understanding that I go away going, well, I believe him. And I think he can convince a bunch of guys to believe him, That's hurt coaches in the past, who've been signed by clubs and they've had a philosophy and a system, but the club and the team just went, nah, it's not us. It's not who we are. They don't last.
Right then, Let's go back to real-world job interviews that we're probably more familiar with.
Yes.
Are you getting your 4 or 5 new potential head coaches to give you a PowerPoint presentation?
See, I've heard they do that. I've heard they give presentations on.
So, what do you reckon the topic? You're the owner. What do they currently do? You're the owner. What do you want them to give the topic on?
Yeah, I think I want a PowerPoint presentation on your vision. And it's probably like last year the Leeds Silly Nannies finished 8th in the Elite League. We want to finish 3rd in the Elite League next year. Show us.
Dream high.
Hey, we want to. We want to, we know we're not going to win the whole damn thing, but, show us how you're going to turn us into a club that wins in no more than 5 minutes.
The other option then, if you do the PowerPoint, you've got all 5 coaching candidates there.
Yeah.
Are you going to get them to sit around the table and have a discussion?
Absolutely
Or
not.
is there going to be some kind of team task?
No.
You're going to make them build a bridge and see who's the leader that emerges from that sort of...
But interestingly, I think that leads on to who's with me when I'm interviewing them. Because I think sports, unlike a lot of other organizations, it's very much a owner to coach mentality. Do you get on? And this is all sports. If you get on well with the owner, you'll get the job. If you don't, you never hear about a panel, do you? Interviewing someone for a sports job, and I think that'd be maybe the thing I would do is I'd go, right, I'll have myself interviewing them, but who else should be beside me? Maybe the current team captain, or maybe a good colleague from another league in Europe who can give me a kind of a more national perspective. Maybe somebody from Ice Hockey UK. Do you see what I mean? I think that might help in kind of broadening instead of having somebody sell their personality to me, because personalities don't really win hockey games.
Is that just based on the way that hockey is done in this country, though, in that there tends to not be a general manager as such, or at least a general manager who hires the coach?
Well, I think, but even then, it's still like a one-way system, isn't it? It's still general manager, owner. There's not like Mourinho will get sacked by the board at Man United.
Not the owner.
Not the owner. Used to be the owner. Now it's the board. Now there's like lots of accountability. There's lots of people having a discussion. I think that may be where the interesting thing is it still that personal one-to-one relationship? And I think it is in many ways. So actually, that's why the interview isn't about maybe strategy. It's actually more like, here's how I'm going to make your vision of this club work. Here's how I'm going to make you happy. Does that make any sense? For example, I'm going to play ugly trap hockey. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm an arena club. I've got 7,000 tickets to sell. That ain't going to sell 7,000 tickets every week. Sorry. Do you see what I mean? That's when I go away. Whereas again, if I'm a smaller club and we are results driven, and all clubs are results driven, but bums on seats doesn't actually come from how we play. It actually comes from if we win. Hull Stingrays, more people turned up when they won than when they didn't because the Hull Stingrays are doing well. I'll go and watch them. You never got word out, they're losing, but they're playing really good hockey. Do you see what I mean? I think it's about who that person is and actually trying to sell yourself to them.
Let's move forward then to the end of the interview process.
Okay.
You've spoken to the 5 candidates. You like what they've got to say, and one of them has particularly impressed you. That's great.
Yeah.
Normal job situation.
Yeah.
2 references on the bottom of that CV. You're going to phone them both.
Yeah.
So what questions are you asking of their 2 referees? I imagine they're going to be assistant coaches, or they're going to be general managers, or maybe they're going to be players or previous owners that they've worked for.
Well, normally,
what do you want to hear once you've already decided this is probably the guy for us?
Well, normally you go back to previous employers, don't you, and say how were they? But coaches are normally sacked. Do you see what I mean?
So do you need to know why they were sacked then? Is that really important for you to know? Because are you going to get a genuine answer to that if that was one of the questions you asked?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get one, am I? In a reference, I don't think I want a coaching reference from a previous owner, because they're never going to say, "Oh, it just didn't work out for him." Well, if you felt like that, you would have kept them. Do you see what I mean? I think it's what you're looking for is. I think a reference is. I would try and blind reference. I'd look down the list of players who've played for them in the past, pick 3 of them, and ring him, and say, what was he like? or find a